Welcome to this edition of Sideways. This watch used to belong to my dad, and when he died 10 years ago, it was left to me. And I'd never worn it until this last week when I got ordained. And I thought that was as good a time as any to put it on for the first time. Well, I bought a new battery for it because it wasn't going anywhere, but bought a new battery and put it on. I think reflecting on 10 years since my dad died, and also just the very nature of the watch and what it does, it got me thinking about the nature of time, how we measure it, and our relationship to it. And so that's what I'm going to be exploring in this edition of Sideways. So it's been a real joy to wear this watch. Well, I almost lost it the other day. That wasn't such fun, but I've got it back now. Got me thinking about how we measure our age, how we think about time. A couple of weeks ago, I walked with a friend from Gloucester Cathedral to Sewell Junction and then back to Stroud, which was about 40,000 steps and about 17 miles. My friend was doing 100,000 steps. And you might ask, as I did, why? Why are you walking such a big distance? And it's because it was a special birthday for him. He was 20,000 days old. Well, depending on when you're watching this, I've been celebrating 19,000 days on this planet. We don't often think about days, do we? I wonder how many days old you are. Perhaps you don't want to think about it either. We normally use years. Years then is the amount of time it takes the Earth to go around the sun once, whereas a day is the amount of time it takes the Earth to go around its own axis once. I like that both of those ways of measuring time because they're very connected to God's creation. They're very connected to the Earth and to it makes us understand perhaps our place in the created order. So I don't think of age or time passing as just a number. I think it roots us to God and it roots us to wider creation. Sometimes, though, I think it's a good question to think about where do we spend our time? What is our relationship like to time? Because it does pass. And what I mean by that is, do we spend our time in the past, or in the present, or in the future? And that can be a really useful exercise to think, where is my mind most of the time? Where would it be healthiest for it to be? There's a couple of very lovely psalms about time and the passing of the days. So the first of those psalms it says in Psalm 90, teach us the number of our days that we might gain a love of wisdom. In Psalm 39 it says, show me, Lord, my life's end and the number of my days. Let me know how fleeting my life is. That in those two psalms there appears to be a wisdom that comes from understanding the finite nature of our lives. And I don't think it's just about knowing it, it's about a acceptance of it, a heart acceptance. So more than just, I understand that one day soon I will have run out of days in the land of the living. It's more about, am I at peace with that? Do I have a level of comfort with that? That means I can spend this day celebrating it and living it and maybe coping with its challenges. Not reflecting on a past or planning for a future, but maybe there's a wisdom in saying that this day is what I've been called to cope with and to challenge, and the challenges of this day are the ones I should concern myself with. Jesus says, quite a famous quote, he says, therefore don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. I think sometimes people don't read the next bit, which says, each day has enough trouble of its own. So time does pass, but we're not being asked to live in the future or in the past. We're being asked to see what there is today for us. It might be day 10,019,177, that's me, or maybe day 30,000. But each day reminds us of our place in the created order. It reminds us that our lives have a beginning, but they have perhaps an end, a temporal end in this life, but maybe some sense of eternity. I'll be exploring the idea of eternity in the next Sideways video that I'm asked to produce in a few months' time. So I hope you'll listen out for that.